Hi there everyone, my name is Marc Roper, Senior Compliance Officer at DocFox Africa, and today I'm going to be taking you through a summary of what we discussed in terms of the 2023 Roundup webinar. First of all, thank you very much for attending this webinar a few weeks ago. Now, as you may have gathered from the webinar, 2023 has been a year of significant change within South Africa's anti-money laundering, combating the financing of terrorism and counter-proliferation financing environments. Many of these changes were proactively taken aimed at preventing a grey listing designation for South Africa, but also as reactive responses based on FATF's recommendations after South Africa was grey listed in February this year. Now, just as a summary of these key changes, so first of all, cash threshold increases for reporting purposes. Previously, accountable institutions had to report physical cash deposits and transfers over 24,999 Rand. So this is essentially coin and paper money, so physical cash, which has now been changed and amended from November last year to single cash deposits and transfers over effectively 50,000 Rand. Now, the requirement of cash threshold reporting aggregation is no longer applicable. This is when, for example, there may have been 5 cash deposits of 5,000 Rand in a relatively short space of time, which somehow appeared to be linked to one another, totaling more than the previous threshold of 24,999. Those have been done away with, and those would have had to be reported to the FIC, but now the threshold has changed. Secondly, very importantly, in December of last year, there were a lot of amendments to Schedule 1, which houses the accountable institution designations and included high-value goods dealers, credit providers, crypto asset service providers, and trust and company service providers as well. Thirdly, considerable amendments to FICA were made in the form of what was called an omnibus law, the General Laws Amendment Act, including changes in acronyms from domestic prominent influential persons, or previously DPIPs, and foreign prominent public officials. These were then changed to foreign and domestic politically exposed persons, as well as the inclusion of a very new Schedule 3C, which deals with prominent and influential persons. Then another point of change to note is the inclusion of the financial crime of proliferation financing and the fact that provision must be made in an accountable institution's RMCP for the proliferation financing risks to which that particular institution is exposed, and also their new products and services being exposed as well. Then, as I'm sure you would be very much aware, the directives have been bandied about quite a lot in the past few months. Very important new directives of 6, 7 and 8. Directives 6 and 7 relate to an online risk and compliance return that must be submitted by certain designated accountable institutions to the Financial Intelligence Center, which entails submitting certain information regarding your understanding of money laundering, terrorist and proliferation financing risks, and also your assessment of compliance with obligations in terms of the FIC Act to the Financial Intelligence Center. The purpose then of Directive 8 is to require accountable institutions to screen prospective and current employees for competence and integrity, as well as to scrutinize employee information against the targeted financial sanctions list, just like you would do with your clients. And this is done in order to identify, assess, monitor, mitigate, and manage those risks of money laundering, terrorist and proliferation financing. Now, if we hope to be removed from the grey list in quick succession, like Mauritius did in just under a 2-year period, this will take an immense and concentrated effort by many stakeholders and government, law enforcement agencies, and the FIC themselves. But accountable institutions also have their role to play, and they can really provide that supporting role in actively complying with the mandates of FICA and then significantly contributing to remedying the recommendations as set out by the Financial Action Task Force.